EWC, right? Only one match played each, both of them managing to close out with a 3-0, but we should highlight Falcons versus Zaya, which we saw a little bit earlier on. That felt like a Falcons pretty convincing victory, 4-1 on CTF, 250 to 162 on Hardpoint, and 2-1 on Keeper. Now off stream, or away from the mainstream, XSET took on Dragons. Now this looks a little bit different, even though it's a 3-0, don't get me wrong, CTF 1-0. They win that one. Map number 2, Hardpoint. 250 to 244. Crazy. So just the 6 points between them, and then they close out on Keeper with a 2-0. But maybe some more questions to be raised about XSET and their performance here in the live event environment. Definitely, there were two different 3-0s there, as you said. Two very different feeling ones, certainly. And you heard also from that Edgy interview, a lot of internal changes heading into EWC. Cold, the man on your screen, he is going to be the player we are watching. I think Levin said it best last night. Levin's like, I think it might actually be unfair that they have Cold on the team. Let's see if they could do it. This would be the upset, of course, the 9th seed versus your 1st seed. We'll see if XSET can still become your tournament favorites here. We're underway with Falcons versus XSET. Chalet CTF to catch us going, and yep, indeed, we're going to watch Chico off the rip hope. And interesting to see, it is going to be a slow bait of utility by the looks of things off the rip here for both teams. So XSET, a little bit of a push through the middle. It's going to be the first pick coming in from Muzz, and that's going to be Chico now having to challenge himself. And I love this little play, trying to slink through to clean up some damage. And that's exactly what is going to happen. And I love just how he slipped through the defensive there of Falcons for just a few seconds. Yeah, Muzz tries to go wrap base. Chicho does well to just wrap all the way back through, make sure he doesn't get taken down. It was a nice kind of 1v1 between the two. And as we said, things are going to slow down a lot. Mark, you and I were expecting this a lot between their, especially compared to their first matches against Zeta and Power. Expect a lot more just these two teams to press each other harder. The pace might slow down at times. Really a lot more pinching on the utility usage and effective bubbles. That's what we're going to be keeping an eye out here. Tayson now 2 to his name. He's going to go ahead and climb up to height. Element of respect shown by both teams as well, knowing that one elimination can certainly snowball, knowing the teamwork that can be put together and the ability to link eliminations back to back. And once again, we're really just seeing this battle for mid-map control. Cole going to be moving into the pool now, and he should pick up the elimination onto Tayson. There's a little bit of a challenge coming in from Tierney, but two players are going to be there as Muzz is going to fly out to try and challenge. And Tierney's going to lose his shields, but he's going to pick up Muzz on his way down. And there's a second one, and that is mid-map blown open. Thank you very much, Tierney, for a play for us to highlight. Wow, and also, yeah, what a play from Tierney there, especially to do it up against Cold, the player we spent the last, what feels like 20 minutes talking about in the studio and on the desk. As you said, early engagements. One thing to also highlight here, Falcons, let's not forget, they scored in about 43 seconds of play in their game number 1. It's, of course, been a very different opening against a team like XSET here. Tierney having to play his life right now because XSET picked up multiple kills. Now you can see he's just trying to be a nuisance and does equal the numbers and allows his teammates to get back on the map for a minute. Strong push coming in on the cave side here from XSET, led by that man Cold, and there is the bubble to give them a little bit of room to play around. Interestingly, normally you want to try to bubble maybe up to the window to just guarantee you at least height, but they had to bubble just straight out of the rock, straight out of the cave, and here comes the push. You can see the pull coming in as well. Cold's going to now take his attention away from moving that flag to protecting his teammate who was moving. And Tayson mid-map, trying to fight, trying to battle, trying to scrap for anything that he can find. And now he's looking for a second one as well. Oh, won't find it though, as Muzz's shots are clean. Keep an eye on where that flag might have been. Looks like it might have been returned in the end. Muzz just staying alive here, just going to hold mid-map. About to run into Yapko though. Muzz now, once again, just looking for this mid-map control. And it's very interesting that both teams are valuing it so heavily. Trades in and around the cave. As Edgy now tries to take down Chico here, who's going to be using that bubble just to give himself a little bit of a peeker's advantage, but it's a double peeker's advantage here. You got Edgy with the rock, the natural formation, and Chicho here has got to be a little bit more worried about his bubble dissipating. That's exactly what is going to happen. Now he has to challenge. Yeah, doubles back out, and as we said, how different is this from everything? Boom, very nice shots here from Chicho. He will take down Edgy. That will now open up the lane and means him and Yapko can now start to make this move here on the rock side. We'll see if they can start to get an advantage here. It's going to be Cold in the back of the base. Spawners in the back of the base as well. There's more work to do before they pull. Yeah, look how Cold's playing this one. Knows the situation, knows that he's got to wait for a little bit of help and assistance to come in from the respawners. By doing so, now he's got Ritual just behind him who can help him with this damage. But this 2v2 is fascinating, right? Yeah. Whoever wins this, you get the feeling it's going to be a flag not moving or an opportunity for Falcons here to maybe get that one off the stand and towards mid-map. Edgy also won a really key one at mid-map as well. That kept things interesting. However, Chicho tries to make the push, but really it just took too long. Bubble did go down, though. We'll see if a pull results. Also doing some good work in the back of the base here, just being a nuisance for multiple teams. It looks like there's a little bit of a stalemate, and we are back to a mid-map battle between the two teams as Yapko now tries to lock down this middle lane of the map here on Chalet. XSET kind of split across the map at the moment. It looks like finally they are starting to formulate a little bit of a push to the 50-yard line. 2 players are going to be on the tunnel side and 2 on the cave, so a little bit of split across the map.
Big nade damage coming in. You knew Ritual was going to get taken down there. He's not able to convert there in the end. XSET does pick up those 2. Chicho trying to win this against Edgy in the end. He will get taken down as well, and now looks like Rockside will, for the moment, belong to XSET. By the way, 50 seconds left, and Muzz is actually on the pole. Let's see if he can get through. Right now, he's able to wrap the corner with still 100 health. Here he comes.
Those are going to dive in. Chicho's going to get 1. You have to wonder if the lineouts are going to come in as well, but look at that kill feed. It's Cold who gets 2, and even though we haven't said his name too many times, when it matters most, he does get that elimination. Tayson, though, flies in and gets that return, and with 30 seconds left on the clock, a massive play from him.
They get the return. They also got the kills they needed as well. That flag almost certainly would have gone back, even if that touch went in as well, and they're going to be very happy. As you said, 20 seconds left on the clock. We will be heading into the next round, still tied at 0-0. This will just be a little bit of extra pressure as the round closes out. But man, what a stop, a flailing Hail Mary stop from Tayson to make sure the game stays here at 0-0.
And that's the craziness about the touch return mechanic right in the game. You get that kill and you can use whatever health you have left to fly. Even if you're taking bullets, all you need is a slight touch on that flag and you are going to send it back home. So an opportunity may be missed, maybe just the hero play was too good, but when it's all said and done and we end our round here and we move and we flip sides, it's going to be tied up at 0-0.
Yeah, still smiles on the entire XSET side. Ritual, of course, included. Not worried about that flag not going in. Still a lot of round to play. You do hear a little bit of Falcons chants in the building. Not surprising. I think you've heard those for a few weeks now as the hometown crowd is very happy to see their players here on the main stage. But we're tied up 0-0. A switch of sides. We're into round number 2. This will be the deciding side here in CTF.
Start of the previous round was, like we mentioned, a battle of utility, trying to bait it out, and there is going to be a little bit of usage. A couple of explosions happening mid-map that are immediately taken advantage of. Ritual, though, he's going to be challenged on the window here and will be taken down. So Falcons with a really, really strong push off the rip here, and they might be able to get this flag moving, but there's Cold to shut it down just as we start getting excited.
I think, yeah, Falcons with a really nice opening there. As you saw, not only do they get the first pick, they get the next 2 as well. I think they just needed to maybe get a little bit more. Cold was in the back of the base. Ritual had already spawned in the back of the base as well. They could not wrap that corner, and even though that fast start worked against a team like Zeta earlier on, it's not going to work against XSET. You need to be timing those limbs even better.
Confidence there on the marksman, trying to hit that no-scope and clean it up immediately. Unfortunately, just didn't have the timing window as XSET now start to flood and take over a little bit of mid-map control here. They're kind of just slowly creeping up at the moment. Tayson going to be taken down as well by Ritual, and the kill's starting to stack up now for XSET.
Yapko knows he needs to stay alive here. Cole just trying to push this lane. This will be a big 1v1 here at the mid-map.
Yapko just trying to play the angles, wait for Tayson to get alongside in the eliminations here, as you say, will be so important. It depends on who's going to be able to push or hold. Edgy taken down as well. Yapko with the big damage coming in from that sniper rifle. And now you're going to see the cave side be opened up here. It's a real opportunity to maybe get that flag moving.
Cold and Edgy holding window here. There also is mid-map presence, as you saw, so they're going to have to be really careful with this end of rock choke. Not going to be easy. Cold going to make the push out, try to force him out.
Yapko's already taken some damage himself, so it's a pretty simple cleanup for a player of the caliber of Cold, as now he turns his attention towards the pooled area. Chicho off the respawn, trying to play inside of the tunnel, and just looking at the map overhead at the moment, it feels like Falcons very much on the back foot, but damage has been essentially done for them across the map to now move out.
Jason tries to stay alive, is able to do it, tries to wrap front base, very, very nice kill. Gonna pick up 2 in the feed. Teeny also picks up 1, so that will allow him now to hold forward, try to wrap around behind Muzz.
17 eliminations in this game for Tayson as well. Having a very, very strong start here. Muzz wins the 1v1. The individual battle going to be pivotal, as always, to creating a little bit of space on the map. Teeny now. Once again, just you can see the value that both teams are holding in and around the cave side. They know the value that can come off that both offensively and defensively. That's why they see them stutter step and take a second before committing to any fights. And both teams just always waiting to make sure it's a double push from 2 players before they do anything. Bubble goes down here. Cold's trying to evade it, and Cold is doing a pretty good job of it. Chicho will be taken down.
Cold actually in the end uses that bubble against him. Very nice job. Really good awareness from Cold, even though he was trapped there at the end of the rock tunnel, able to just fly right into the bubble and help to use it. In the end, though, those kills are essentially traded out and neutralized. So the elims will go each way. Yapko now trying to make the move here as well. Tayson on the white truck, but immediately gets lit up there. Great team shot there from both the front of the white truck and the window coming in from XSET defensively.
Speaking of defensively, that's where XSET find themselves on the map. A couple of them just stuck in the back of spawn at the moment. Damage has been done to Falcons members, which means they're going to have to just wait to see if they can get a couple of picks before they try and formulate this push. And in that time, you can see that XSET have managed to take a little bit of presence here on the balcony.
Right away eliminated. Yapko just connecting there, but Muz is going to tie that up with a limb of his own. Here comes Yapko trying to make the push through the window. Not an easy one. Knows he needs to time these limbs with the team. A kill here alone is not going to do enough. You need to make sure you're timing this with your teammates. Taken down right away, and that really has been the theme. I think the teams have done both so well to make sure they're not, if there's only one player alive, that last player is getting the limbs that they need.
Great defensive hold here from XSET. They pick up 3 kills on their way forward as well. Closest player to the offensive side is going to be Teeny. On the other side of things, you can see but now Falcons are having to play defensively. XSET are making a move here. 3 dead for Falcons.
Look at this. Muz gets away, wraps that corner perfectly based on the kill feed. You know that this one is going to come home. Muz is going to score this at a pivotal time as well. The flag goes in for XSET with less than 60 seconds left in round number 2. And based on how this one has gone, you have to feel like that could be the deciding factor. Really only 30 seconds for a pull for Falcons.
Yeah, this needs to be perfect for Falcons. And Muz is just flying middle map into bubbles at the moment. He sees Yapko in front of him and he says, 1 isn't good enough for me. I want to try and find 2. This time, not going to happen though. 38 seconds left on this game clock. Falcons have picked up a couple of limbs on their way forward. Richard was right there and he did get taken down, so this might be a little bit of a last-minute Hail Mary, but the defensive play in the back from Muz, finding 2.
3!
Might have just shut this down. It's 3 on the backside, on the back foot. Coming in from Muz.
Wow, he had help from Cold. You saw it there on the flag stand, but in the end, it's 3 names in the feed that Muz picks up and shuts down what would have been really the final chance for Falcons to get a flag on the board. What a defensive stand from XSET.
So very impressive. So make sure you've got the ice in those moments to clean up the damage. You can see Muz having a little jiggle in and around the pool to celebrate, and it will be XSET who take our first map here at 1-0.
And you can already tell, right, in those first matches, you did not see a lot of reaction from these teams as they knew it was the first round of group stage. With this specific matchup, it is different. You saw smiles on the face of Ritual and the entire XSET side after that. What a set of plays, not just that flag, but also the defensive work late in round number 2. Smile from the face of Cold as well. We've got to be very happy with that performance, as they will take game number 1 in what we already said could very well be one of our best series of the next 3 days. Until we get to Sunday, this one could really be the one to watch.
Yeah, it was a fascinating actually moment, wasn't it, when that flag was captured, because the pool comes in and we are always, as FBS commentators, looking across and going, kill feed, what's happening in the kill feed? The flag is great, but if that kill feed goes one way, of the way of XSET, we don't have to worry about that flag, because you think about the cutoffs, you think about the lineups of nades, no one is on the map because they've been eliminated to even challenge that flag carrier. As soon as that flag got towards pool, the kill feed went XSET, XSET, XSET. Falcons had no chance to stop that flag. It was a clean, clinical run coming in from them.
It really was, especially when we saw Edgy wrap that first corner, right? It's so often the case. As we take a look at some highlights from that game number 1, it's so often the case, Mark. That's why you see the bubble being just off the flag stand. As soon as you wrap that corner to go front base or to get to Rock Tunnel, your flag carrier can be away if your limbs are timed, if you have your chokes down mid-map. We saw that from XSET. And I gotta say, it's so special to watch these two go at it, because you can tell over the 10 minutes of play just how difficult that flag is. These teams are going so absolute tug of war, back and forth meeting at mid-map. And you can tell just how hard XSET had to get every piece of the puzzle perfect to bring that flag in.
Yeah, I mentioned how it felt like both teams had a huge amount of respect for each other in those opening moments, and it was kind of highlighted by some of those plays we saw in and around the cave side, right? A lot of times, a less experienced player in those situations might see an opening, a 1v1 that they tried to take, but it was never a situation where anyone felt comfortable knowing the value that would be given up if you took that 1v1. So it was usually a 2v2 situation before anyone tried to make a play off the back of it.
Also really impressed with both sides, like we said. Each time when we saw a team that was essentially poised to get a pull when they had their 3 dead, you saw a lot of times where Cold would be working in the back of the base with Ritual or Edgy, and they would get the kills that they needed. They would get those perfectly timed limbs and not let Falcons walk through with a kind of 4 limbs straight. We very rarely saw 4 drop for either side. It was always a slowing down.
I mean, this was a huge play that we just saw there from Tyson, right, where he just managed to get that touch return at the end of this first round, and how things could have looked a little bit different and a little bit more comfortable on the side of XSET had he not done so. But heading into this second round, the opening, it felt like Falcons were on top for the majority of it, but just weren't able to really force that flag out at any point. XSET with some really impressive defensive plays.
Yeah, it was also that play for Muz that I absolutely love. It's not easy to do. One of the best things we've seen also in scrims when we've been watching this, also from the DreamHack qualifiers, with the bases on Chalet, when you are pinched in the back of your base, it is such a power move and also kind of an ego move to fly front base and rip people off of your window. You're ripping people off of your roof. You're getting crazy 1v1 kills. We saw Muz do that, and I think a lot of teams aren't ready for that. They think when they have windowsills, when they have white truck, when they maybe have also the tunnel side truck, when they're starting to pinch, they expect people to just be peek shooting off walls. If you can be like Muzz and fly out front base and start to win 1v2s like that, that turns the tides of battles, and I think that's going to be continually something that if players can put themselves in difficult, kind of disadvantageous positions and win them, that'll be the difference maker in CTF.
Well, Pocket was often on this studio floor. What you wonderful people at home were thinking and the predictions that you had. We'll get you up to date with those in just a few moments, but it looks like we're almost ready to go into map number 2 here, Andy. A little bit of a change of scenery.
Yeah, for you and I, this is the first time we're going to actually see Panther. We saw Chalet in that first series in Hardpoint as well, so now we're going to be able to see kind of what the pros call old map Hardpoint. We'll see if we can get a winner here in this one in terms of a go-ahead match for the side of XSET, or if Falcons can tie up this series at 1-1. That will be the question. All eyes on that first hardpoint mark. Really, it's one of the hard points where you can start to lock it down here. And because the teams have to climb up to height, I was talking to a lot of pro teams about this first hard point. You want to get as much time as you can here, especially if you get clean wipes off the opening. You can easily get 30, 40 plus seconds off of this first hard point alone. We're underway in game number 2.
Here we go then. Falcons found themselves down by 1. It was a 1-0 victory for XSET on Chalet CTF, which gives them the series advantage as we head in towards P1. And Yapko on the marksman, looking for heads already.
Yeah, XSET actually goes for height, and it looks like Falcons is going to see that. They're going to immediately stack up on the height as well. Also a little bit of battle going down. A little bit of pre-bubble coming in from Edgy. First kills do go the way of XSET. First 3, in fact, Teeny is the last player alive. He will undoubtedly get flooded. It's a clean wipe. It's first points on the board for XSET. They will start scoring after the initial scrappy points coming in for Falcons.
Really well done there by XSET. The way that they baited and switched in and around the pillars and the walls just inside of this first hardpoint was absolutely expert. You can see Edgy is going to get a little bit of help here. The bubble goes down as well, which is going to make taking him out of the hill even more different. And now with the damage being done,
look at this!
Flood through. Muzz finds one. Cold will follow it up. And this is a perfect start coming in from XSET. 25 points and rising, but the kill feed has been dominated by them.
This is exactly what I was talking about. If you can continually force Falcons up onto height here on this first hill, if you can get those first limbs that buy you the time, it's going to result in a big lead like this, already 35-10. Yapko, though, just walks in. They get the kills they need. That's 3 straight for Falcons. They're going to be here for the rotate, but XSET is already there.
It looks like scrap time will be given up here, and it's actually a race happening elsewhere towards this second hard point here. Yapko inside of that hill, trying to hit some big shots, but not going to be able to. So XSET look like not only have they won the original time of that first hill and find themselves with an advantage here, they've won the rotate towards P2-2.
Chicho's still alive. He does pre-bubble on the way in. Should be able to get help from Yapko here. Let's see who wins this 2v2.
What if that bubble's just a little bit short to contest in and around that hard point, though? Edgy, a little bit of a 360 and a snap on the back of it as well. That is beautiful coming in from Edgy.
Beautiful from Edgy. Also, you heard him in the pregame interview, Edgy. He said, I want to step it up after my first series. That was not the best. I got hard carried in that first one, and he is stepping up here in a big way. XSET is up 68-10.
Tayson trying to do something individually here, and somehow or other has managed to do so. So Tayson, with that individual play, has flooded towards the hill almost on his own. It looked like it was almost a formality that he would go down, but adds 2 more eliminations to his run here. Richard will pick up 1, though. And that makes the hold a little bit more difficult. The rotation is happening. You can see the Falcons have moved away towards it. Now, Falcons will have the spawns for this hill.
Yeah, team's going to already be on Lambo. They're going to have back hardwood controlled already, and the first kills are going 3 in a row come in for Falcons. It's Yapko and Chicho combining for those first 3, maybe even the last one. Muzz ties things up just a little bit, going to try to apply some pressure. Here comes Ritual on the front door as well.
Trying to force his way through. Teeny inside of that hill. He'll find 2. Edgy will find 1, as will Cold. So it'll be eliminations traded across the board, as inside of the hill is going to be XSET. Tayson flies forward, and with a little bit of help and a little bit of love from his friends, manages to find a couple more inside of this hill. Chicho will be the player who's scrapping up the time for now as Edgy tries to move forward and create some space.
And overall, over the course of this hill, it certainly has been Falcons that has rallied back. Let's not forget, it was just 44-10, and now it's a 10-point game. Falcons right back in this one with 4:20 left.
Really, really strong hold from them, and like we mentioned, if you have the spawns closest to this hill, then you're more than likely going to be able to get the majority of the time, except with 2 more elims to their name, as Ritual tries to spread himself across the map, as we see teams starting to think about rotation, as the scrap time will be picked up here by Tayson. 2 kills in the feed for him. The elims start to stack up, but everyone, unfortunately, finds themselves a little bit asleep on the respawn, as nobody wants to give up this scrap time.
Muzz takes height on the angle, and even though it looked like there was 3 guns on him, he somehow gets out of that one, picks up another one, and another one just walks in. Muzz just doing what he does best, walks in. You just saw Cold on your screen here, bottom left. He picks up 2 in the feed as well, and XSET rallies back. They answer back, and just like that, they're up by over 20 once again.
Really, really good hold coming in from XSET as well, and not surprising to see such a thing when this is more of a contestable hard point that we do have in comparison to some of the ones that you can lock down and make your money hill. But look at the kill, the feed. All of a sudden, you're seeing Falcons start to step up, and Chicho alongside Yapko are picking up those limbs to give them a little bit more space. So even though the score is currently favoring XSET, look at the way that it's going. Falcons have control.
You can tell this one's far from over. Just every time a player gets maybe away with a kill that they shouldn't have in the end, it's just going to be a teammate that comes and wipes it and gets the final elim. Now everyone getting ready for this fifth hill to end and getting ready for that move and trying to make this pinch here. Edgy and Muzz just holding.
Chicho didn't even get an opportunity to play the bubble there as Cold will find two. Cuts him down before he even gets influence on how this next fight will pan out. Muzz now up on the balcony, going to be challenged, and Taysom will get the break. 10 elims for him in this game as Falcons make the play, but Edgy is there to make sure this is going to be a little bit more scrappy.
Chicho and Yapko combine, though, to pick up the next few. So still with 30 seconds left on this one, there's still a lot to play here on this fifth hardpoint.
Muzz is trying to burst through the front here. Takes a little bit of damage in the back. He wants this kill, wants a Chicho, but not going to be able to get that going his way. Cold inside of the hardpoint. A little bit of dodging and diving in and around these palm trees for now as Cold will continue to scrap up some time. And this is just the lead extending here for XSET. They are closing in on that 150-point mark, and we're almost seeing, I would say, what feels like the biggest lead of the game.
Yeah, it really is, and you could just tell there's right now everyone's going to rotate back already for this first central hill. We've done a full rotation now, and after that full rotation, still a 30-point game. XSET leading Falcons 150 to 115.
Falcon have won the rotate, though, and they will be inside of the hill. What's the player who's on the flank? As you can see here, Chicho should be close enough to work alongside Yapko to get this elimination and take him down first. And bump him away as now you're going to see the flood come in, and it's going to be what a flood coming in from Falcons. They managed to take 3 elims of XSET, and that's going to be them now sat inside of that hill. You have to wonder what went wrong for XSET there.
They also take down Edgy in the end. Take a look at that in the feed. That means there's going to be even more time here, and just like that, it is less than 10 points here between the two. Falcons might even take the lead momentarily. And what a rally, down by 50 points, but they get the perfectly timed limbs to get right back in it.
But here come XSET once again, and there's 3 limbs in their favor now. So Ritual, alongside his 3 teammates here, have made a very, very strong break onto Falcons. And even though this game is getting closer and closer, the elims start to matter more and more. 164 and rising as we head over to our next hardpoint.
3 in the feed for Tayson. Beautifully done. That should pave the way. Edge is your last player alive right away. Yapko already takes down Ritual off the respawn. This should be an easy push right now. XSET still getting a few points on the board, but Falcons should be able to collapse on this, but they buy enough time for Cold to bubble.
Bubble will go down, but Tayson manages to flood in alongside a teammate. They managed to duo inside of the bubble as Ritual now tries to play his life. Not only playing his life, he's taking the limbs with him as well, and that's 2 taken out by Ritual. I mean, that is such a huge play coming in from him, not only to survive, but to make the most of that life.
Yeah, bubble down and well. Ritual now going to be able to just peek with any angles he wants. They're ready for this Falcon push. Here they come.
The fuse is lit on that dynamite. The question is he going to do a huge amount of damage to the front? Ritual still alive inside, but so is Tayson, and now he comes in and finds 2 eliminations, and it looks like Falcons will break. So even though the lead is still XSET's, Falcons are inside of that hill.
Cole gets taken down as well. That means staggered spawns coming in for the side of XSET. Falcon will continue scoring here. Everyone getting ready now for this rotate. Still a 10-point game.
We might be heading into this next hardpoint at almost a tied game. It's 189 to 184, and 185 is getting closer and closer as Chicho picks up his 16th elimination of this game. Now, on the rotate, Falcons will have the spawns here. And even though the scores are so close, this is a huge opportunity to hold. But look at this. It looks like XSET have almost won the race here. Might be able to pick up some limbs.
Yeah, you could just tell Edgy and team trying to get back hardwood. Kills are coming in on both sides. Just going to try to hold here. We'll continue to score. And XSET will go back into the lead after barely losing it. Falcons timing their push here from the top left side. We'll see if they can do it. Here they come.
The utility doesn't really hit here. You can see they're trying to bait out the dynamite, bait out those grenades. And now you're going to see Edgy go back to Old Faithful, the utility of the gun and the bullets. Now we're going to see the flood come in, but it's Ritual alongside Edgy who managed to get some elims. Now you're going to see all 4 eliminated, as you say, and this is going to be XSET with a monumental hold for the time of the game. Making sure you get points at this time of the game could be game-winning.
Massive. You can tell Chicho and Yapko know they just need to fight for this next one as they get ready for this hardpoint rotate. They've already backed Artini back there as well. Tini picks up a few in the feed. Now XSET knows they need to push, they need to break. It's a 20-point lead, but 50 points left on this hill. XSET could win it in this one. Falcons could certainly take it and even win it if they're able to do it. We'll see which team could do it.
So much value on this next engagement between the two teams. Whoever comes out on top of this, we are going to have essentially the game swing in their favor as we enter these closing moments. Love what I'm seeing from XSET here, though. They're just taking a second. No! When it matters, Ritual hits the shot to break it open.
Really matters, as you said, because two elims that just come in here, somehow it's another one. 2 kills that come in there for the side of Falcon. This is the big 1v1 in the back. No, Teeny wins it. Teeny wins 2 of them with Yapko. It's absolutely huge.
You thought for a moment there that was the play we'd be talking about, but Teeny standing in front of this hill and standing inside of it might have just managed to win the game here for Falcons. One opportunity maybe for XSET to flood once more to try and challenge, but with how this man is playing, nobody will have an easy ride.
Yeah, ready for the next rotate here. They still need a few seconds after that. XSET is already there, though. XSET now is in the new hill, and now XSET could win this one. Falcons not able to do it in hardpoint number 4. Ritual and Edgy holding.
It's all going to come down to one fight as Ritual once again on the marksman is going to hit the shots. It's Teeny versus Ritual. Again, this time, it will be Ritual who gets it, and it will be XSET who will win this game, showing the ice that matters in those final moments.
My God, we knew that this series would deliver, and you can already tell. Look at Ritual, look at XSET. These boys are popping off. They are hyped. A down to the wire, and this time they do it against an even fiercer opponent. Smiles across the board on XSET. On Falcons, of course, heartbreak and disappointment after trailing, then leading going into our 5th hardpoint of the game. They possibly had the time to close it out on the lounge hardpoint. They weren't able to do it, and guess who won the rotate? On the 5th hardpoint, it was XSET. They get in the back. They win that. They win key 1v1s. Beautiful sniping coming in as well. And I'm so glad for our team here at EWC. Sounds like we're going to have a replay of the last moments of that match.
We are, for you to all enjoy at home once more. And I got to say, sometimes you're watching plays kind of develop in front of you and you're like, Ritual on the marksman with the sniper rifle in his hand. He's hitting planers. He might have won the game before the rotate. Then it changes the story. It's like, maybe this is the Teeny story, right? Maybe he's the one who we're going to be talking about as the game winner. Ritual gets another opportunity by rotating to that next hard point. These shots here on the rotate as Falcons try to force their way towards the hill, and then the 1v1 for the ages. Teeny gets taken down. Ritual will get a second as well. And I mean, the combination of players in that final moments it's brilliant. It's individual skill, it's play calls, it's everything you need to do to win a close hardpoint.
It was also everything we could have asked for a final engagement and a hardpoint. And with the speed of EWC featuring Fortnite, you don't always get these clear hold versus push battles. That was 4 players on Falcons alive. They even got the early damage on Cold in the straight 4v4. XSET had to push, they had to break, they had to get the elims that they needed on the lounge hill. They do it long enough to make sure that Falcons doesn't win it in that hill. Then they get the rotate, and they had even more work to do. As you just saw on screen, they get the elims that they needed to hold down that hill. Very, very key 1v1s, very great lane control to close it out with a narrow win, but they do it, and they go up 2-0 in the series.
So many things to talk about. Even in the final plays, right, you're looking at those shots hit in the final moments from Ritual. Even if you body one of those players, it could look so different. The fact that he hits the headshot and takes one player completely out of that push, that player could be the last one to arrive that takes him down when he's barely got any HP. So those little moments are the moments where you're looking at players, you're looking at them, you know, when the big moments are you going to be able to step up to that moment? We've just seen our answer from Ritual.
We really did. And by the way, I got to shout out, you know, Eleven was talking about on the desk. Ritual needed to be the man, he said, that was making calls and pushing them forward. And you're not only seeing that in-game, you're also seeing it out-of-game. He's the one popping off after each match, keeping this team hyped up, and just as Levin said, pushing them forward here in this series. We also got to highlight Edgy. As we said, in his pregame interview, he said in the first series that I needed to step it up, that he put it all on himself. It takes a lot of, you know, courage, takes a lot of professionalism for a player to say that early on in the tournament, the man on your screen here, but Edgy said, I'm looking to make sure that I show up big in this series, and has he ever done that so far?
Certainly has, and it's come down to those final moments between these two teams, and at the moment, XSET look like they just have a little bit more ice when it really, really matters, but now we're kind of changing the tune again, right? This is the unpredictable series when we head over to Keeper, the newest of the game types. This is an opportunity for Falcons, who have run XSET close in the more established ones. Is this the one where they can take one away?
Really excited to see this. We saw earlier, you know, we've seen on our main feed 2 Keeper matches so far that have both been thrilling. One was a 2-0, one was a 2-1. If you were watching the Falcons series up against Zeta, we did see XSET win their series 2-0. Maybe that's a little bit of a teaser, right? XSET with a little bit more convincing win than Falcons up against the 15th and the 16th seeded matches that we saw earlier. But excited to see specifically where these teams look to hold, because is we've seen the teams doing a few different things. XSET actually was using a little bit of tower holds in the last game, but we also saw a team like XSET showing how you actually tower hold, which is a lot of baiting and switching and playing really aggressive around dropping out of the tower. It's a more complicated hold. We know that XSET, from their scrim results, loves a basement hold. Expect them to use that as much as they can this game.
We'll have to see if that's going to be the case. If XSET can close out with a 3-0 win over Falcons, which would be quite the statement this early on in the tournament. But on the other side of things for Falcons, who have run them close in both games, remember, it's a 1-0 and a 250-246 hard point, if I'm not mistaken. A few points is the difference between this being a series which is in their favor and them having to fight for their lives here on Keeper.
First early limbs there, going to Yapko, takes down Muzz, but everyone playing this a little bit slower early on. Cold not afraid to get into the bubble action. He picks up the first one, but those limbs will eventually be traded out.
It will be Falcons who managed to escape with the key first, though. You can see, actually, it's taken away, excuse me, after a few points were put on the board by Muzz. However, he's going to be challenged. There's going to be two players who fall from XSET, thanks to a combination of Teeny and Chicho. And looking for another one here. Not going to find it, though, as Cold will win his individuals. This is an interesting start, right? This has been a little bit scrappy. Nobody's been able to get that key back to one of those priority positions you were mentioning for a hold.
Yeah, absolutely. And anyone who's new to Keeper, who hasn't maybe watched a lot of kind of oddball-type game types, is now Muzz is going to rotate to that tower hold, and we'll see if he actually decides to hold here. And anyone who hasn't watched, it tends to be, as 3 fall, a little bit scrappier early on until a team can finally get the rotate that they're looking for. Chicho just flying in on Muzz, not afraid to hold forward, and does exactly that. W keys in very nicely to pick up the first.
That'll stop the hold that was coming in.
Popular
with
bubble.
That bubble. Yeah, I was going to say, with that bubble coming down as well, it essentially keeps everybody alive who can then try and rotate out with that key away from it. So Chicho with the objective in his hand for now. Edgy going to be challenging, and that's going to be him winning that one. Edgy actually manages to pick up 2 limbs, so you're going to see the numbers start to favor XSET once again, and with another one being picked up as well, the time is going to start to stack up on the side of XSET. They will go into a slender lead.
I was going to say, smell that? Smells like a basement hold. And right away, they're bringing everything down. We knew this. We saw this from their scrim results. They were a basement hold team, and right now the action heats up. Teeny actually flies in, I believe, with help in the end from Tayson and Yapko to clean out the basement. But right away, you're seeing XSET bring the key down to a basement hold. It's 42-39. About to see Falcons go into a narrow lead here.
Teeny is going to be playing the marksman here. Unfortunately, he doesn't even get to pull the trigger. As Edgy and Cole will step in here to stop that progress once more. 45-43, we'll find ourselves as XSET trying to escape with that key once more, and we'll go into a slender lead. This is just a scrap battle bottom middle at the moment. Chicho flies in alongside Yapko, and Yapko will be eliminated. A combination of Cold and Edgy is good enough for them to pick up the elims.
Oh boy, and another one as well. Just add it to the feed. Ritual's the one yelling on your screen, but Cold is the man in your feed. Picks up another one, holds it down. As you said, he got the help, but the 1v2 and eventually 3, making it a 2v3, it just looked clean from XSET. They played the angles perfectly, even though they didn't have the numbers. They continue holding, they continue scoring. No plans to leave the basement anytime soon.
Falcons trying their best to get 4 on the map before they start to push, but that body shot is going to be good enough to slow it down once more. Yapko trying to essentially buy a little bit of time. Edgy's going to have to play his life right now, as he's going to send in a little bit of utility to try and flush him out, and flush him out he will. So Yapko will go down, and now you're going to see XSET start to flood themselves.
Tayson the last one in. Tayson might be able to mop up here. Teeny works and gets a few. You also saw Chicho in the feed. That means there's going to be at least 3 that were down, and that means Tayson will finally be able to rotate out to try to pinch, but they're going to continue holding in basement. He's just going to try to push them out a little bit, which is going to buy some more time as well.
Yapko, as the marksman, is going to be just trying to poke and prod at the angles of the pushes coming in before retreating back with that key towards the basement, where he makes the engagements a little bit more close range, and he can help out some of his teammates who are taking some of those fights. XSET managed to find 2 themselves, though, so they will now have the key in their hand, with another one being picked up by Muzz here. If I'm not mistaken, that was all of Falcons wiped.
That was moments where Falcons was about to go back into the lead, but XSET says, actually, we have a different idea. Yapko with a very nice 1v1, important one, actually wins another one. Teeny comes in to get the next limb. So that actually should now be 3 down for XSET. What looked like it was going to be a momentary XSET hold, instead is actually going to be a Falcons hold. They now are about to go back into the lead yet again.
1 minute left in this round, by the way, and it's only 1 point, as we now have a tie game between our 2 teams. Ritual is going to give XSET a slender lead, but you're starting to feel the nerves. Everyone's starting to bunch up a little bit here, and when you've got something like the dynamite in your hand, if 4 players are holding hands, that can do some real damage.
Very nice team shot. We'll see if they can continue it here. 2 from Falcons fall. The XSET team shot's too strong. 3 fall. It is almost going to be 4 fall. Where's Chicho? He's taken down. All 4 down. This will be guaranteed time here for the side of XSET. They will now cross the 115-point mark. Very good team shooting. And guess what? This is why they love the basement. When you can get everyone into these chokes, they can control everything on the map.
Well, that's going to do it here for XSET. They will be able to close it out with that time that they've picked up in these final moments. And hey, it's the same stories we've seen on map number 1 and map number 2, right? We get down to the final moment. Who wins the most pivotal battle? It's XSET every time. So they will be up 1 round to 0 here on Keeper.
That was a big, big team shot. And once again, this team's fired up. You got to love it. If you're a fan of XSET, if you're hoping that they take this tournament, you got to love the energy already on their side of the stage. Undoubtedly, of the teams that we've seen on our main stage so far, these guys are fired up, and for good reason. They know they're going up against the #1 seed and another tournament favorite alongside themselves. As you said, Mark, really, really key timing there on that team fight in basement to get the clean wipe. They essentially trade 4 for 1 to get their final hold.
Something interesting to talk about, right, as we see the key being immediately picked up is XSET. You talk about their motivation coming into this event and motivation coming into this series. There is nothing more frustrating to be the 9th seed when you believe you should be winning a tournament. Yeah. Going on to the main stage against the team who holds the 1st seed coming in, you want to make a statement, you want to make a point, and I feel like they're doing that right now.
Yeah, they are. Teeny picks up 2, though, to allow some early points to now go the way of Falcons, as XSET did go for that early hold. Cold making a little bit of noise. Gets another one, of course, off screen. Oh. Cold picks up another one. Ritual's also hitting bodies and cleaning up. Muzz is there for the cleanup. XSET is up to their usual tricks. It's 4 down. You thought that the teeny opener was going to be everything you needed, but guess what? Cold from height inside that building picks up a 1v2. It just opens everything up for XSET to continue holding unit. Can guess where? In the basement.
I mean, at the moment, all of the players from Falcons, I think they might be a little bit flustered here because they're just falling into the crossfire. It's going to be 2 for Cold. And even though Chicho's doing what he can to even up those numbers, you're looking at Chicho to go huge. It's 3. It's 3 for him. He's looking for more as well, but can't quite convert.
Did he buy enough time for Tayson to come in? Muzz gets 2 as well on the feed. Tayson's able to pick up another one, but Cold is the last one to the party. Teeny finally there. A little bit of chaos, a little bit of carnage. Teeny will pick up 2 in the end, so it will be a little bit of time on the board, but the spawns are so staggered right now where you're going to see continual 1v1s, just these teams flying at each other, and in the end, finally, XSET might have to rotate out of basement here or at least hold the opposite side angle.
Yeah, I like this from Ritual, just moving the key towards where his teammates have respawned, right? Knowing that there's going to be a little bit more safety for him where they can play these corners. One of the great things about this basement hold, as soon as someone is forced to drop, you're going to get those first shots in before they can even assign their reticle because your legs are dangling before the gun is showing.
By the way, you didn't see it in the first series, but if you want to know just how dominant and preferred the basement hold is, let this game be the indicator of this. These are 2 of our best teams in the tournament. The key has not left the basement once in this entire map. It hasn't even left that side of the map in this match. Chicho picking up another one. Chicho picking up 2. And now going to be able to score here. They've got a little bit of a comeback to do. 48-31 in favor of XSET early on in our 2nd round.
It feels like a player from each team is just taking their opportunity every time we see that key down in the basement to pick up 1, find 2, and then immediately gets traded out with a big double coming in from the other side. So when you're looking at eliminations at the moment and you're looking at Edgy, he's got 15 to his names, whereas Chicho, he's just picked up his 23rd of this game. And now we go back to the scrapping and around the basement. It's a 2v1 here, whereas Cold will be taken down. It looked like Chicho got a little bit of help moving forward, and Falcons now with that key on their back have the opportunity to scrap up some more time.
Yeah, they need a bit more time as well because that XSET hold was pretty dominant. XSET already crossing the 60-point mark, and Falcons now find themselves trailing by just a bit. Now Ritual just going to hold the angle, and once again, they're just going to force these opponents down into these. There's only 4 very small chokes down into the basement, and XSET has done so well to hold them. We'll see what Tayson could do on the break.
I think he's looking for the flank at the moment, but the bubble's going to kind of ruin the element of surprise. 4 players from XSET at the moment just sitting in the basement. This is where you wish if you're Teeny right now, you got a dynamite. Maybe that'll help.
You need a SWAT team is what you need here. Teeny's going to try to drop down. Good timing pusher. Doesn't matter, though. Edgy picks up another one in the feed. Muzz also combining. Teeny taken down. Edgy picking up 2 more. This will be more time on the board for XSET. 99-43.
Ritual just taking his time here. Knows that they have a lead, which is established, and he's actually baiting that key, knowing... But Yapko is built ever so slightly differently from the normal human. He wins that individual fight and now has that key for his team.
A battle you thought absolutely was going to go the other way. Yapko stays alive. through not just that, but the following engagement as well. Finally, he's taken down. One interesting thing to talk about, Mark, with 118 left on the clock is where you put your marksman, especially if they're key holding. You kind of don't want them basement. You're seeing the marksman every time they're key holding. They pop for an angle really quick and only retreat when they need to.
He's going to be switched here into the hands of Chicho. Tayson is in that basement trying to bait out maybe a player to drop down. Does exactly that, but there's the EMP, there's the response, but the lane of bullets, the lane of fire opens the door for Yabko, but he's not going to be able to get those kills, as unfortunately for Falcons fans, it's going to be XSET who win the majority of the elims. 106 and rising now. We're seeing a 28, almost 30-point deficit open up between these two teams with just 40 seconds left on the clock.
40 seconds left. This is do or die right here. Take a look at that game timer. Take a look at the score on your screen right here, as it's going to be quite a deficit. 38 points is the difference, and that actually will be it. Mathematically, XSET will take this one. They will take the round, and also the series as well. This will just be essentially a victory lap here on screen. The players on stage are going to know it as well once the math starts to get done by coaches and players. 20 seconds left. XSET, this is a victory lap for them on these final elims.
I mean, it's 30 elims for Chicho, but as we see, it doesn't count for anything when you're losing those games. And when we get to the end of this, it will be a score that we will remember for quite some time, and maybe we'll send some shockwaves through the tournament. XSET with a 3-0 win here over Falcons.
All smiles, all shrugs on the side of XSET. You could just tell down the line, maybe even a little bit of relief there as you see some hands on the head. And the XSET boys are very happy. As we said, they might have the 9th seed, but they are still your tournament favorites across the board. Depending on who you ask, a lot of the community expecting them to take this tournament. And against the #1 seed, they edge it out 3-0.
I will say, a lot of the plays in that game, especially game 1 and 2, came down to those final moments. Falcons really did give as good as they got. And when you look at 3-0s, it's always interesting to look into the 3-0, because 3-0 sounds great, right? We wiped them aside, we won every game. What's the problem? But when you break it down a little bit further, you can see that Falcons are going to be a problem, not just today, but a little bit later in the tournament as well. But I've got to say, one player who stood out to me with some exceptional plays on that marksman, it's Ritual.
I mean, unbelievable lane control, as you saw, and